All right, welcome everybody. Thank you very much for coming. Today, Dionysia will introduce our speaker, so the floor is yours.
Well, it is my great pleasure to introduce Professor Andronikos Mauromoustakos, who is originally from my hometown of Thessaloniki in Greece. So, Andronikos, who goes by Andy, was born in Thessaloniki and left his hometown in 1978 for the United States on a full-ride NCAA tennis scholarship, tennis. At that time of his departure, during the end of 1978, he had completed the first year of undergraduate studies at Aristotle University, also my university, the first university. Since he did not read or speak English, he was forced to study math while traveling, playing tennis for a top 20 tennis program and Hall of Fame tennis coach. He did manage to learn enough English on his own while attending his regular classes and managed to graduate with honors, securing several graduate academic scholarships from prestigious US universities. In the fall of 1988, 10 years after his arrival in the States, he graduated with honors with a PhD in statistics from OSU. During that entire span of 6 years, 2 for his master's and 4 for his PhD at the OSU Statistics Department, he was awarded the only research scholarship of the department assisting the Oklahoma Experiment Station statistician. Upon completion of his PhD, he joined the Agricultural Statistics Lab at the neighboring U of Arkansas. During the last 15 years, as a full professor in the academic department of crops, soils, and environmental sciences, he teaches, consults, and advises graduate students and their advisors. In this capacity, he teaches about 100 graduate students each year, half of whom are international, mainly agriculture students from all over the world. Through the years, he served on more than 100 PhD graduate committees and many more masters. He teaches the 4 graduate courses that comprise the core of the STAN graduate program that he will talk about. He was co-author more than 130 papers in refereed journals, published in over 40 different subject matter journals. He has presented more than 100 presentations and invited workshops internationally and in national and regional conferences and universities. Okay.
A little video about our university, so you know where I'm coming from. We are a unique university. You can't see the video for some reason. I was in a presentation, but let me stop the presentation. Yeah. It's still not so.
You have to extend that you have to move to the
Let's make it big. Why do not flag something? Yeah, let's play from the We are the land-grant university, the main university in Arkansas, which is bigger than Greece, but population smaller, but a little over 3 million. we are unique in the sense we are the only university that puts the name of every graduate in the university and what degree you have made. So you can always visit 50, 100 years and say to your kids or your grandkids, here is my name, that's where I was here, and that's the degree that I got. We are one of the fastest growing universities in the US. Well, right now I think we are 28,000 students. We are President Clinton's university. President Clinton and his wife were both teaching on the building next to me in the law school. There were faculty in the law school that got married there, and their first house, which is in the university, it's just less than 50 meters, and it's historic. And this is a world-class museum. This is the Walton family. Sam Walton was a graduate of our university, built it 40, 50 years ago from one store, the biggest company in the world, Walmart. And of course he passed away, so his money was divided to his kids and his wife, and now there are 6 or 7 Walton family people that each worth more than 25 billion. So when you combine them, he's the richest guy because it was one person that created all of this, the Papu that did pass away. And his wife has given the money. They have the largest museum of American art all in there. And we live in the town of Fayetteville, Arkansas, that is every year, the past 10 years, has been voted in the top 5 places to live in the US. We are very fortunate. Okay, exit that a little bit. Back to the presentation. I want to talk to you a little bit about as Dionisia tells you in my introduction, we don't have PhD program in statistics or analytics. We only have master's program, and then you can get your PhD, work with a statistician and get your PhD, but your PhD will be in math, or your PhD will be in computer science, or your PhD will be in business. I want to talk to you about the STAN program that we have. I want to discuss statistics in general in this talk, and I want to remind all of you that statistics comes from Greek mythology. Back in Tyche was a goddess, and in the temple of Tyche is where they found the six-faced die. The first time that the six-faced die is used in most of the games that we play. Of course, you all know, but I'm an ag statistician, agricultural statistics, but you know, most of the modern statistics is due to Fisher that work at the Rothenstadt experiment station. So, and you probably know that Dimitra was the goddess of agriculture. So there is Greek. I tell my student, I write my name in Greek and in English, Andronikos Mauromoustakos, and I said, the luck-headed that I study a discipline where all of the common symbols are Greek, mu, sigma, rho. So, and it's the same, you write them the same in Greek and practically in English, so it was not a big transition for me. I study a little bit at Aristotle, so I try to read. Yeah, I try to read some of his saying, and in the education field, you want to be able to say that the mark of an educated man is to be able to entertain thought without necessarily accepting it. And I'm trying to tell them that don't tell me your answers, show me your data. What I want my students to remember from me is I don't believe anything till I see the data behind it. So back when, years ago, there was a big video that was called Paying Attention that I used throughout in my classes, and you may be familiar with it, but I want you to see some of the numbers and how much these numbers will have changed in less than 10 years. Take a look at what but how people learn. Most people are digital learners. And why they're digital learners? Video games, cell phones, TV. 2.5. That was the research was 204, 205. This is with the phones now. This data is so nobody would have thought that the data can go so skewed. So the idea is to teach with a curriculum that is rich on content. You can watch the rest of it, but this is quite long. I don't want to spend the whole lecture and showing the video, but it's a paying attention video. But show me the data. You remember, I don't know if you have seen the movie with Jerry Maguire, that is the agent of the black guy, and the guy was telling him, show me the money, Jerry, show me the money. I have created it. You can download this on my LinkedIn page. This is the idea is out of Anscombe, that he created the quartet back in the 70s, that he created 4 data sets that had 11 observations, X's and Y's. And he was trying back then to show that there is important to visualize the data, not just analyze, not just use a CAM package. And the data that you can download, that just created data sets with different size, 1,500, 1,200 observations, to where the correlation is exactly 0.7 in all 4 cases. So I use clickers in the class. I'm trying to collect data from the students all the time, or when I teach, and I give them quizzes instead of grading homeworks. And in a case like that, I will say A, B, C, D, select which is this possible first, and which correlation will be 0.7. The answer is 0.7 is on all of them. And here is a situation that you have Walmart, you have a lot of companies, and you have the 800-pound gorilla. That when you put it in the analysis, make the correlation 0.7. When you take it out of the analysis, the correlation is 0. So you can have essentially one outlier, not one observation in less than 0.1% of your data that makes a correlation that you will say macro is strong. Here is a situation that you have different countries. The relationship between X and Y is negative, but you have different sizes in economies. You can move from Greece to Italy to France to Germany, and what you are picking up is the size of the economy, not the relationship between X and Y. And this is the case of the Simpson paradox. And then you have a situation here where the situation is clearly the data is not linear, And the relationship should not be correlation, it should only be used with data that exhibits linear relationships. This is students and how I collect data, and you know, it's a simple case scenario. Essentially, in the first class, you learn two ways to analyze two means: a t-test and a pair t-test, the two-group t-test and the pair t-test. And all you have to understand is that blocking or not, and this blocking has to be accounted for. But when I give the data to the students to analyze, half of the class they will do it one way. After I have covered both, half of them will do it the other way. And then I will say, which method is right? Which is, now when you see this audience said, let's do the t-test. And these people that did the pair t-test. It's very easy to see immediately which is right. A lot of the times when people see that there is others that they thought like that, then they are willing to share why they think that way or not. The discipline of statistics is the accounting discipline, but instead of accounting for money, you're accounting for scientific credibility. If you are in the life science area, you do everything that you publish will have practically statistics in it. Here is a joke, since we have a lot of physicists here. There are three professors, a physics, a chemist, and a statistician are called to the dean. Just as they arrive, the dean is called out of the office, leaving the three professors there. The professors see the alarm that there is a fire in the water basket. The physicist says, I know what to do. We must cool down the material until the temperature is lower than the ignition temperature, and then the fire will go out. The chemist says, no. What you need to do is you need to cut down the supply of oxygen. While the physicist and the chemist debate the course to take, the boss see the statistician running around the room, setting the room on several more fires. The boss screams, what are you doing? And the statistician replies, I'm trying to take an adequate sample size. Part of my job, essentially, is talking to PhD students that are setting up experiments, and the number one question that they come to your office is, how many replications, how many plants should I study, how many animals, how many cows should I involve in this experiment? And that's what they think that you as a statistician will be able to answer. But in order to answer this question, you have to ask them, what is it you're trying to detect? You have to give me that piece of information, and the other piece of information, you have to have some preliminary data that you can use as an estimate of variability. Otherwise, you cannot do calculations. So in the first meeting that they will come, they will leave disappointed because they thought they came to the statistician to get an answer, and they come in with two more questions that they need to answer, that they need to go back to the advisor. Statistics means different things to different people. As a mathematician perhaps thinks that is because in measure theory you have a lot of types of measures. One of them is probability. Statisticians deal with probability. So I remember when I was doing my PhD, the theoretical people, when there was a talk that involved data, the probabilists will ask, what is my omega FP? If you don't know how to define the omega FP, why are you doing? You're telling me all of this thing with the data is meaningless. And the same thing, the applied people thought that the mathematical statisticians weren't solving any useful problem. All they were doing is they figured out the mathematics for one distribution, and then they were using the same type of distribution to publish more papers from the same family because the mathematics would have been tractable. But they weren't really doing anything that will answer any important questions. I talked to you about our STAN program. We started it 5 years ago, this mixture that is between statistics and analytics. STAN stands for statistics and analytics. And really, statistics and analytics, you can think of it as the yin and the yang in the era of the big data. It has 7 concentrations. Biologists and agriculture people will follow the bioanalytics concentration. The business people in the business school, they will be doing the business analytics. The education people, they will doing psychometrics, and the psychology people. The computer scientists doing computational analytics. The industrial engineers in the engineering school, they're doing operations analytics. The social scientists that they're doing polls and poll data, they will follow the track, the social science track. And we kept the statistics track, the track that was our old master's program that you get a degree in statistics. Notice that the requirements of what these courses is in the business school to have real calculus 1 or calculus 2 or linear algebra is too much of a requirement. It will cut a lot of the students out. So even the requirements to these different tracks of the same program are slightly different. And the courses, for example, operations analytics, we need simulation, optimization, data mining courses. Not all of the tracks will have to follow these courses. The people in computational analytics, they need to know about database management, mining, machine learning, AI, and things like that. But what are the core courses that I teach? The core courses for all of them, for all of these tracks are 4, then they are statistics. That's why the 2 initials of the program is the STAN. Is principles of experimentation, is design of experiments, is regression modeling, and multivariate. So what we want them, the students, to know is how to design the efficient experiments. Right before I came, I gave one of the engineers an exam that she was telling me, I'm doing this design optimization, I have certain factors, and my advisor said to do this experiment that is taking me 1.5 years. So for my PhD exam, I asked her to use a DSD design that used only 10% of the data that she could have run in 1 month, not the 15 months that this has taken her to run the experiment. And I said, analyze the data from your DSD design and use all of your data with the reps that your advisor asked you as a part of the PhD exam. The optimization was exactly the same, and the R-square on the DSD design was slightly higher than the R-square from all of her data. So doing the right type of design in a search algorithm, the computer can design a lot better experiments than any of your expert advisors if you give it the right information. So the third course is about building models for a single response. And the single response may be categorical or continuous, but you have many, many different types of inputs. That's what the third course. And the fourth course that is required is how to build prediction for many Y's that they are correlated, multivariate method, from many X's. So you use techniques to predict not one variable at a time, but many related variables at a time. And then you have to take some of these other subject matter areas. We have a steering committee who admit people into the program from many, many different principles. We have a master's thesis if they want to actually do a problem, but most of the students are just doing the courses. It's very popular program because people are finding jobs. if I show you my LinkedIn, I say I'm a data analyst. If I go to my LinkedIn profile at this moment, I have 30, 40 job offers in my area of where I can apply. There is so many jobs for people in analytics. We try to follow the example of, let me exit, of the first analytics program, that is the one at NC State, that SAS, the company, the software that I use for my classes is made by SAS. And they invested money because it's a North Carolina company. The two richest persons in North Carolina is the owners of the SAS Institute, that they are billionaires. And they built this analytics program. I will just show you a little bit. This is 1 year program, analytics. Oops. Now I have to exit out of there. And I have some facts on my talk. This is 1 year master's program. 1 year. You can go to it from many disciplines. They have students from all over the world. They graduate about 120 students a year that they enter the program. They're taking 2 semesters of courses, at least ours is 2-year program. 2 semesters of courses and an internship. So it's sponsored by different companies that they give them big data and a real problem, and they put them on the team. And the students on that team, during the summer, they're supposed to give a solution to this problem back to the company. So some of employment report. Of course, it's an analytics company, so they should know how to advertise the program, and you can download the full report. This, and they have one for each year. Total number of graduates, 111. Graduates seeking employment, only apparently one person either had a job to go back to, or decided to stay for a PhD or something like that. All of them, all the others, seek employment. I looked at these numbers. How many interviews they get? Average salary over 100,000 with 1 year master's program. So in the US, there is an arms race. All of the institution is trying to get to this analytics. Whatever was the MBA 30, 40 years ago, everybody to get somewhere had to have an MBA degree to advance within the company. Now everybody has to have an analytics degree. And it's not only it has information, it's comparing them to other Ivy League programs, to Harvard and to other people, that is 2-year programs, to other online programs. And it even talks about the cost and the return on the investment. So essentially what it's saying, our program, if you are international, is going to cost you about $45,000, but you can get return on investment within a year. Go in the bank, get a loan, apply to our program, and pay it off within a year, the first year that you are up. So they have a lot of information in here, the mean, the maximum, and it's showing the companies. The who is who is the companies that they will hire these people. Consultant, what jobs do they get? Consultants, data managers, analysts. Okay, so, well, I hope that I convince you, because you have different subject matter area, that you need to be trained more, because the job market requires to have this analytics tool. So the rest of the talk is, I'm going to provide for you where you can get on your own 30-day online, very good. In fact, I tell my students, some of this material is better than the material of the people that pay to take my classes. So let me show you this analytics program. right now, as soon as I get back, I'm on sabbatical, I'll be teaching this visualization, data mining, applied multivariate course, where you can build models essentially, and then you can optimize different responses. The software will say higher the better, but in a specific range, just right. When making yogurt, for example, if I'm making yogurt, the pH of the product has to be consistent. The customer comes and buys because it has a specific taste. If it's sweeter or if it's more sour, they're not going to come and buy it. So things that you put on the label, they just have to have their options outside, they are unacceptable. And you need to do joint optimization, and then you can look at your overall desirability, build the models, come up with optimum conditions, do simulations, do risk analysis. Very, very trivial. You can build visualizations. Here is the hurricane, how they gain strength as they go historical through the United States. But the course that I want to talk to you is, I want you to remember to go to the JMP page, and I will go there. And they made this course, Statistical Thinking for Industrial Problem Solving. It's going to take you about 30 hours. They have completed 6 out of the 7 modules. I'm teaching in Athens in the end of the month, and every day we're going to do one of the modules. So all of these people that will attend the class, they will get a certificate that they'll learn design of experiments, that they'll learn predictive modeling, that they'll learn quality methods, how to do measurement system analysis. So this is free, all of you enroll, and I will show you a little bit about what it looks like. So I'm enrolled in it. Here is the JMP page. In the JMP page, this is the software that SAS built it, the co-owner of SAS back in the 90s. SAS was running on mainframes, things like R, you have to program. And he wanted something that is very visual, point and click. And that he didn't believe that Windows was the environment to provide that, and he believed on Mac, and SAS did not run on the Mac at that date, so he decided to build the software on the Mac platform. Eventually it was ported to Windows. It's pronounced JMP. It has many different packages within it. The students for us will get it free. Anybody that sends me an email that attends the talk, I will provide for you the student code, so you can download and play with the package. When you take the course, the package runs virtually on your machine, so you can do all of the training. But if you want to also practice, the student edition of the package is something that usually the students buy for $60 bundled with the book. But I secured a lot of free codes for all of the places that I'm going to lecture, so people get to try it if they want to learn it. And it's good for 3 years. So if you're doing your master's or your PhD, you can use it. It will not expire. Of course, you can download the real program, but it will expire in 30 days. And then you won't be able to use it unless you purchase it. So here is the statistical thinking software. And I logged onto it. And here there is, you can launch the virtual lab that is running the software. You can download all the data to do the exercises. You're going to see, let's do one. There are several courses, correlation and regression, decision making with data. Let's do correlation and regression. the correlation and regression module, you're going to get a certificate. And here is, I clicked on the module, and it starts. Every module is about 7 hours. For many of my PhD students that they didn't take the class from me and they have learned it through R or with something else as a part of their PhD written exam,
Welcome back.
I tell them to do
Select
one of
present.
these because it's a one-day thing. And if they get the certificate, I'm satisfied. What happened? Why is it not resuming? Is remembering where I am. So I need to go back to the exit activity. I have a little video that introduces all of this right here, the course. So let's play.
Across industry, science, and academia, deriving insights from data is central to problem solving, innovation,
Very
and growth.
interactive.
Software such as JUMP places statistical techniques within easy reach, but without an understanding of which approaches are useful and how to
Here is
interpret
the
and
dashboard.
communicate results,
Here is the
solutions will be
simulation that I was
suboptimal, and the
telling
best
you that you can build
opportunities will remain
distribution
undiscovered.
and look at the
That's why we
simulation.
created statistical thinking for industrial problem solving. Developed with practitioners and academics from around the world, this free online course is available to anyone interested in building practical skills in using data to solve problems or drive improvement. In this course,
You understand
will be
all of the
provided
models.
free
Even
online
your
access
neural
to
networks,
Pro,
your
so
trees,
can
you
apply
will
what you learn.
see. You're bagging and you're
The
pushing.
focus
What
is
is
on
it? It's
understanding
not like the
statistical
black box other
concepts
software
and on the
that we
practical
use.
application of statistical techniques. So, the knowledge and skills you gain are transferable. Because it's in the cloud, you can access the course from any device, and it will be available in several languages,
So
so
you
you
can
can
also
take the
do
course
it in-
even if English isn't your native language. Built from the ground up
If
for the
that
modern
they don't have
learner, the
Greek
course is available 24/7, so you can work when and how you want. The topics in this course are grouped into 7 modules, totaling 25 to 30 hours of self-paced
2 of
learning.
them are my first
take
course,
one module
2 of them
or
are
take
my
them all.
second course.
For each
One of
module you
them is my
complete,
third
you can
course
earn a
of
badge
statistics.
certifying that you have successfully
So-
completed the content. Each module includes short instructional videos, jump demonstrations, questions to test your understanding of the concepts, and exercises so you can practice what you've learned. After completing the course, you can obtain a formal certification in statistical thinking for industrial problem solving. This performance-based certification can be used to demonstrate your mastery of the content and is part of the larger JUMP certification program. We've worked hard to create a free and globally accessible course to meet your needs. The only requirement is that you want to learn how to extract valuable information from data and take your career to the next level. Learn more and enroll today at jump.com/statistical thinking.
So this is something that you can do and learn because it's pointed. Of course, you can write your own code. You can write JSL code that does a whole application. I have written basketball application. I can go to the basketball and do my own statistics that gives more information than what all of these people that they're sitting there and providing. Just I have written an application for breeding. So we just published a paper where we're doing all of the honeycomb design. All of it is written. The user, the plant breeders that are going to take it and use it, they don't need to know how to write the code. They're not going to change the code. They're just going to choose the design, the appropriate design, and it does all of the calculations for them. It has a lot of other packages. It has Jump Public, Jump Live. It has ways to build dashboards. If you're setting your data in a web page and people who need to be interacting with your data, if you're building models and you say, oh, if I'm willing to change the conditions, the temperature, the relative humidity, the wind speed, and the model is going to, and I want to predict from this area to this area, and the model uses the data on the background, and it allows you to share all of this with people that they don't even have the software. So a little bit about the software and its capabilities in 60 minutes.
For every scientist and engineer, easily import data from a variety of file types.
It's written primarily for engineers, but essentially through the years, a lot of the SaaS users that decide, hey, I can do all of these things without programming and do them in 1/10 of the time and be more visual, and I can interact. So a lot of them became jump users. It's a point-and-click interface. It allows you to do automatic recalculations. So you remember we had that graph with the swarm of the data points and the Walmart. If I go to the Walmart and say row exclude, all of the calculations and all of the model will reappear without going and playing with my data.
Saved interactive HTML to share on the web. Try Jump for yourself, free for 30 days. Just visit jump.com/try.
There is a lots of material where you can learn beyond the course. If you teach with the course, if you are
In
an
this video,
academic.
we cover basic navigation and use of JUMP statistical discovery software for SAS. We'll cover JUMP menus and data tables, the JUMP interface, and summarizing and graphing data in JUMP. We'll use JUMP.
There is a YouTube channel. Here is a capture of the course that you get. Here is on LinkedIn. This person got certified, and she was certified in predictive modeling and text mining. You can do a lot with text mining here, and it's very popular because it's analyzing. Most people leave that part of the data, but nowadays with social media, a lot of the data is on Facebook and on Twitter, and a lot of these companies have decided that they need to mine their data. I played the jump on 30 seconds. Like I told you, there is tons of material. Every conference, all of the papers are, when I got to the conference, all of my papers, everything that I have presented, the talk is there. The main speakers in the conference are also videotaped of the speakers. Everything that is presented is there. There is 1-minute guides and let's say I want to learn about specific cluster analysis. Yesterday I was consulting with an animal scientist, and he said, look at this paper. They did this complete linkage analysis. I never heard of it. And he gave me these trees, and said, I want to be able to show a little bit more visual how my fatty acids are combined and are similar. And I said, okay, let's see, can you learn it from the 1-minute guy? So we play a video, 1-minute video. And then I sat with him and I said, let's read your Excel into there and mimic this step on the 1-minute video. And it was surprise for him how, he was trying to do this in SAS and was taking him forever. There is also 1-page guides, PDFs for everything. There is jump logs. There is academic community that you can get stuff from. And there is all of these data discovery conference. There are 4 of them that happen in 4 different continents, and all of the talks are available. So you don't even have to spend the money to go to the conference to get the information. So some of the things that I talked about here, for example, the 1-page guides, graphical summaries, probabilities and distributions. These are the main thing that you need to understand to be a STEM master's level graduate, to understand how to do analytics for common type of data. And then here is jump logs. You see, there is code that you can use that other people have done, and you can apply it to your situation. For example, I went to a conference. I had a poultry scientist that in poultry, we have the largest poultry science department in Arkansas, in the world, and the #1 ranked department in the world. In fact, you see the campus, all of these buildings, you see one building that is a lot bigger than all the others, and you say, what is this? The second biggest is nanotechnology. But this building is right next to the football stadium in the prime real estate. These people from their top offices, they can watch the football game from their office. And it's a poultry science. Why? Because Tyson, the company that does all of the poultry and meat in the US, he's a graduate of the university and his company is right there. So he gave, like Walmart gave $300 million to the university, and the business school has Sam Walton's name. He gave all of this Center of Excellence for Poultry Science. So where all of these schools have 1 or 2 people that within the animal science department that they work on poultry, we have the biggest building. We have 50 researchers on poultry science. So there is a big problem in the industry. And I'm on 2 PhD committees that we're building models for predicting. So what is this problem? The problem is that the chicken becomes so big, they become like football players, and the breast meat is very muscular. So it's chewy and hard. And about 10% of the chicken have, especially the male chicken, has that problem. So what is the industry wants? The industry is processing thousands of chicken. So it takes scan images of the chicken and the dimensions. We are building models to predict if this batch of chicken that came from this farmer of this country that they are processed today, if it's going to have above 10% or acceptable, so it can be sold to a good customer or not. Will soon be sold to the good customer because they're going to be disappointed because it has too many incidences. And we're building these models from scan images. And I went to the conference, and some guy in France had built a JSL code that was scanning like these scan images as big files. And we have thousands and millions that we have to scan and process to predict overall for this batch. So while the batch is producing, they have to make a decision how is it going to go for the top customer, A customer, B customer, C customer. So a part of his JSL code, and essentially we're building the code that all we need is 3 dimensions, 3 simple dimensions from the 12 different dimensions that we have on the chicken and angles on the form of the body, and we're building models that they do very, very, very good prediction. But I found the guy that in France has built something like that. So you can find a lot of stuff in the blogs of people that, and here is all of these conferences and posts and the presentations from all of the different conferences and where they're happening, all of the talks are there. So it's a software that you can learn. If we have 2 hours in the afternoon, you can master the software if you have this software. Now, you're going to need a little more expertise to understand how to do some structural equation modeling. It's going to be point and click when you put the data into the thing, but to understand what the problem, what the software is giving you. One of the things that they are very good at, they're not showing you everything that you need to know, they're showing you some basic things, and you have to drill down to see more about the model. It is the only software that I know that every model that it builds a graphic profile that you can interact. So no matter what the type of model that you build, machine learning, artificial intelligence, type of models, trees, neural nets, it allows you to specify the different inputs and to change and to see the prediction and to see how the particular input It slices the model and it gives you a graphical representation. So if you are a subject matter person and you say, this model says as x1 is increasing, this is gonna, the y is gonna increase. Biology does not support this. So maybe something weird in my data, and the neural net is thinking that because after, as the x1 increase, then it levels off and it goes down because it's non-linear model. It does weird stuff. So it allows you not only to build all of these models, but to do model averaging. So you say, okay, here is 10 different models, different class models, different prediction. Support vector machine and a neural net and a regression model. And you say just average and produce a prediction from the average of all of the models. So any questions that you have for me? I don't want to take any more of your time. There is, the key is that there is ways for you. There are tools out there that they can make your life easy if you are a data analyst. I said to the students, this is like the Swiss, this software is like the Swiss Army knife. If I was being told in Survivor, I only can take one tool with me, a fork or a spoon or something, I will take the Swiss Army knife. It can get me in a lot of places. Is it the software that can do it all? No, I have to use R and some other software. I have to use SAS and other software to do. But it's what allows me to sit with a scientist and in half an hour figure out everything about the data. What is the data set? Does it support the objective of their experiment? Are there weird outliers there? Is the data reasonable? That is there evidence in the data towards the objectives? Where in none of the other tools that I know how to program, I can do it in a half an hour while the scientist is next to me. So I can figure out all of these things and ask them things that it would have taken me to sit on my own and program in order to ask those questions that they are relevant. So it's very fast and efficient. When you do the analysis, you can save your script, so somebody with new data can repeat this analysis. It can easily create PowerPoint presentation of all of the output. It can create interactive journals. It can create dashboards. So it's very, very user-friendly. I haven't, since '93, all of my exams in all of my classes are in the computer. I don't give paper and pen. So all I do is I give data to the people that bring their laptop. It's free for them. They can get it for free at the university. And I say, here is the data. This is Nicholas' experiment. He's doing this because this is his objective. That's what he's trying to answer. Build me a model, and I will get 15 different models. And then my job is to say, which of these 15 is closer to what I would have done and why? I tell them all models are wrong, some models are useful. We don't know. Unless we're doing simulation and we know what we're simulating, we don't know. With real data, we never know the model, what is generating the model. But we can build useful predictions. And a lot of the times, I'm trying to say why the assumptions for this particular student's model are kind of violated with this particular data. That's why I will not have done what I have done. And that's where the learning is taking place. Because the students, all of them can do, give me answers. What is the hard part? The hard part is not on building these models and doing the clicks. The hard part is to write what are the conclusions and why what we have done is reasonable. Why you have faith on what the computer did for you. Well, are all of the assumptions, do you have checked all of the boxes? And why, if somebody else has different, why perhaps their answer is more reasonable than your answer? Questions?
I have a question. We are producing here, at least in our group, the software Mathematica, and they also produce.
It produces mathematical code. I mean, it can build models for you from smaller data set, and then you can score them. It interfaces with Mathematica, with Python, with R. It creates R code, so you can take them on a big server and evaluate millions and millions of observations, score new data. I don't know what, I know that you have a lot of physicists and you do sophisticated simulation and you're using lots of data. A lot of that modeling. I don't know if you use a lot of spatial statistics. If you do use a lot of spatial statistics, the package of choice that I know that all of my colleagues use for that, building dynamic model space-time, it's R. JAP does not have that kind of sophisticated modeling, Bayesian modeling that you can use prior information. All right. Thank you for the invitation.